Hello and welcome to episode 34. I'm currently just over 760 hours into the build, so I've put a fair few hours into this body kit I'm making at the moment. So I'm just working on the rear quarter panels. I probably have put about 10 layers on each of the rear quarters, so I've got sort of the level I need on there, so I'm just putting patches on and specifically targeting areas that need the filler now. So yeah, let's see how I do here. So there's quite a few different angles I'm trying to achieve here. The plane that I'm working on at the moment obviously runs from the door right up to the back, and there's quite a raise at the back where it kind of peaks. So yeah, I'm trying to get a nice consistent line that kind of follows the angle of the light where the rear lights bolt into the car. I'm trying to continue that curve around to the side where the aero duct is, and then obviously every single sort of section has its own unique angle, so there's quite a few things going on at once. See how much the car just went down when I sat down. It's quite awkward actually. There's not really easy ways to sit down or sort of to get at certain parts, so there's a lot of standing and bending involved. So at this point, most of the sanding is kind of interrupted by just feeling the contours and the gradients, and then sort of carrying on. I'm using 60 grit sandpaper, so it comes off pretty quickly with 60 grit. Once I'm happy with the near finish, as far as all the sort of lumps and bumps are out and it's consistent, then I'll go on to 80 grit sandpaper and then down to 120, and 120 will be sort of the final finish, if you like. Because of the angles, I'm not going to be using much block work. It's all going to be sort of with loose emery cloth. And sort of the technique is to, if you curve it over in like a U shape, then you keep a very rough sort of straight plane, so you can get nice straight finishes and take all the deviance out without having sort of the harshness of a block, which can create flat spots. So you can see, like every couple of seconds or so, I'm just feeling for any lumps or bumps and just addressing the areas individually. So now I've got it down to a good finish. I will just dust it off, get all the loose filler off, and then I will start to mark it up and figure out what areas need more filler. And this is just a time-saving method to avoid just having a load of filler that you're kind of not sure where it goes. Because as it starts to dry out, it is actually harder to get it to stick properly and get a nice smooth finish. That bit there, round by the light, is probably the trickiest part. There's lots of the angles sort of meet at the same point. In the gap where I've just run in my hand, so the gap between the arch itself and the aero duct on the sort of the side of the car, where it kind of comes to a really sharp point, I'm probably going to have to sort of run my finger up with filler to take that sort of harshness of the cutout away, because when I make the the mould, it's not going to be that easy to recreate into a panel, so just for ease of making the mould, the fiberglass mould, I'll just run a bead of filler down the edge just to take that really sharp gradient out. So you can see where I'm just putting patches of filler, really thin layers, just to blend it all out, get it all even, and have no deviance. And then any excess filler I can just put on other parts of the car that need it, just to be most economical. Moving on to the passenger side. So I've just got to sand down the patchwork I did yesterday. So at this point, you don't just want to be sanding sort of to and fro. It's good to do circles just to get any of the lines you create out. So on this gradient here, on the main part, it's good to do kind of circular patterns just to get any unevenness and liney work out. Surprising how quickly you can take material off with the 60 grit. So it's just as bad to kind of over sand it, otherwise you're just constantly chasing your tail, putting more filler on and sanding it straight off again. So it's good to just check it, keep rubbing your hand over the area that you're working on just to make sure it's coming off where you want it to. This area here above the rear lights, it's going to be very important to get the right gradient and a good smooth surface, because any reflective or glossy finish, haven't decided whether it's going to be like a matte colour or a gloss, but whatever it is, it's going to be dead obvious in sunlight if it's not perfect. So on the note of the colour it's going to be, I haven't fully decided exactly the design, the finished design. I'll most likely wrap it rather than paint it. So if you have any ideas as to what sort of colour theme you think would look good for this type of look, this body kit, just leave a comment below. So I've put probably close to 20 kilos of filler on the car, and that's just the auto body filler, the car filler. So I wonder what the car's weighing right now in filler. It's probably close to 90 kilos worth of filler. So that kind of shows that the reason for me making the base for the filler so strong and using metal rather than anything like foam or something more flimsy, it just goes to show that it needs to take a lot of weight and abuse from constant sanding and working on. So that's why it's so the base is so strong. I'm just blowing on various bits that have like holes in, because if you have the filler dust trapped in certain areas, obviously if you layer over it, it's not going to be it's not going to adhere that well. So I'm just doing what I did on the driver's side, just marking up areas that need more filler. So there's quite a big area here that I've kind of seen that it runs a bit flatter around to the back than the driver's side, so I'm just marking up the entire area that needs more filler. So that's going to be quite a bit of filler going on there. That area around the back where the light, right at the front part of the rear light, is going to be fun to try and get right and even left and right, because like I say, there's so many different angles coming into one, and yeah, getting the right contour and the curve of the light is going to be interesting. That was about an hour's work you've just seen. I've done 7 weeks approximately of the filling process, so hopefully there's not too many more weeks to do now until I can get the panels made up, and then I'll be going on to some more interesting and exciting stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.